Welcome, GrayMatter leader, to our unpublished podcast for GrayMatter leadership career coaching. I'm so delighted, as always, that you've invested this time, you've tuned in, and you've given us some of your time today to engage in a conversation that's intended to move you into what I call the leading edge of your life and business as a leader. At Gray Matter, we believe you have the power to activate the part of your brain scientifically known as gray matter. And in so doing, you can take yourself out of autopilot thinking and behavior. Now, in case you're wondering, my name is Jeanette, and I'm the head of sales and communication here at GMC. I'm also your host for today's leadership conversation. And of course, I am joined by my co host and founder of GMC, BJ Gray herself. Today, we are talking about the importance of understanding yourself. Now, BJ is going to define for us what self awareness is, because that is key if we're to understand ourselves and the people we interact with. I know we also have a tool that BJ is going to walk us through, known as the Enneagram. And I'm so excited to dive into that and learn more about it as well with you. So make sure you stick around for this entire conversation, this entire session, especially if you want to learn how to utilize this tool to improve your performance, to handle stressful situations better, and even to possibly reduce conflict and build trust with your coworkers. BJ, the spotlight is on you. Are you there?
I am here. Hello, Jeanette. It's good to speak with you again.
Hello. Yes, I know. I've been waiting for this.
You know, as a coach, I have several tools in my toolbox that I use to help people gain more awareness of themselves. And you and I talk about this all the time. Every time you and I talk, you actually level up your own awareness about your own thought process and how you operate. And as we dig into these concepts, you tell me how it's helped you deal with stressful times. Well, I have
Yes.
several different tools that I use to help my clients level up this self-awareness. And one of them is the thought management tool, which I think we've talked about. One of them is just noticing your own habits and things that hold you back. And we've talked about self-sabotage and um, some of our own insecurities. And this one, the one that I really want to talk about today, is called the Enneagram. And I've been drawn to this um, personality assessment since last year because I found that this particular assessment that I took for leadership really helped me gain awareness of why I operate the way I do, and then some of my deficiencies. And so the Enneagram is to me, one of the best tools we should incorporate into getting to cultivate self-awareness about how we perceive the world at work and how we perceive others. And then maybe by understanding all of the 9 types on the Enneagram, you'll recognize those in others and you'll understand why they are reacting or operating the way they do. So understanding your own self-awareness is a huge concept for me. There's several ways to get at this, and the Enneagram is one of the new tools that I'm really fond of and I want people to become more aware of.
And so when we become self-aware, when we don't BS ourselves and actually, really reflect, it helps us to understand our strengths and weaknesses, right? The things that trigger us. But you also say that it helps us make better decisions. Can you
Mhm.
explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So if I know that I'm potentially a person that's going to be a perfectionist, right? And uh, and I'm getting ready to decide how to react to something that one of my teammates brought to me or one of my associates brought to me. And if it's not perfect and I'm a perfectionist, I might actually react to this person or make a decision on how to speak to this person in a way that comes from my personality trait, which may not work for the person that I'm speaking to. So you've got to understand you're a perfectionist. you operate with a perfectionist operating system, but it may not be, if you react always through that filter, it may not be the most helpful way to help people grow in the business or give feedback, right? There's got to be some sort of room in this kind of communication or decision you're going to make that's not based on your innate personality. Another one is, I have another example, which is really good. I'm a considerate helper. I'm the number 2 on the Enneagram. So I tend to make decisions that are always going to help people. And sometimes that is to my disadvantage because I'm always people pleasing. And so you've got to make decisions that don't, because I know I'm a considerate helper, my natural reaction is going to be to people please, but that doesn't always serve me. So again, you'll start to be aware of why you do the things you do, whether you react because things are imperfect or you react and you people please because you're a considerate helper. It'll help you make better decisions that's going to be more useful to you and the person you're dealing with.
And when it comes to building trust, to managing conflict, to making our communication with others better, whether we're at home or at work, would you say that increasing self-awareness and even using this Enneagram is going to have a huge impact, a huge positive impact?
Yeah, because trust is built on our engagement with a person, right? We build trust by the way we communicate and engage. And I think if you understand who you are and you maybe understand who they are, you're going to engage in a way that the person is seen, the person is heard, the person feels understood. Like it just gives you another level of awareness that makes it more open and critical to the engagement you're having with someone, and that builds trust. When you know how you operate, they know how, and you know how they operate, you're going to operate more authentically. You're not going to operate from a place where you're not self-aware or you're just reacting, you're on autopilot. So yes, I think that these personality types can help us engage in a much more authentic and deeper way because we will know how that person is wired and we know how we're wired.
So
Sure.
the more we're not self-aware, the harder it is for us to build trust.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Because we
Ah,
don't connect on a level that's sincere to who we are and sincere to who they are. Sometimes we connect with people based on our expectations, which never go well. We connect with people based on our own ego and sensitivities because we feel threatened, right? And so, yeah, if you can constantly understand yourself better, you will then naturally understand others better. And then you will naturally engage and connect in a better way.
Perfect. I am so eager to jump into the Enneagram. Do you want to walk us through what it is and how it works?
Yeah. So the Enneagram is broken down into 9 personality types, and they kind of bucket these types into 3 different sections. So just there's one section that's motivated by anger. There's one section of personalities that's motivated by fear, and there's one section that's motivated by shame. So those are probably our alter egos that we will uncover when we take an Enneagram test. And so
Anger, fear, and
fear,
shame.
yeah, those are
But
the
when you say motivated, what do you mean? Like our nature, like our basic instinct or something?
yeah, our basic instinct is to
Ah.
operate from a place of either anger, fear, or shame. So I'm a number 2,
Oh,
which I told you, the considerate
yes.
helper. I'm
Hmm.
motivated by shame, which means I never feel like I'm good enough. I never feel like I could. I'm doing enough to prove myself. And so that's also why I constantly people please, right? So I'm
Hmm.
motivated by this shame of I'm afraid to be seen. I'm afraid to make a mistake. But it really comes from a shameful place that, am I good enough? Do I still need to prove myself? Do I still need to make sure people like me? Yeah. And so
Hmm.
I've learned
Oh,
this, and I learned how to deal with it through the assessment that I've received back from the Enneagram, um, I guess, website, for lack of better
yeah.
words, where I took the assessment. Yeah.
Right. Is this a woo-woo thing? Like, I mean, I know you're not into woo-woo stuff, but like, is it actually based on some kind of science or research? Where does it come from? Do you know?
When you It's an ancient philosophy, and I think it
Okay.
is not based on woo-woo. No, I think it's really actually based on like how you cognitively behave in a situation. So when they give you the quiz, they're going to give you questions to monitor your
Mm,
behavior, and it's all
okay.
really more on a psychological profile than it is on a spiritual woo-woo profile. Although it is an ancient assessment, I know it from ancient times, it is not woo-woo because I need more logical explanations for why I operate the way I do. I don't really connect with the spiritual woo-woo type assessment. No.
Mm. So how is this going to help us um activate, at Gray Matter we're all about activating and strengthening and reinforcing the gray matter and also unlocking our true potential. How does this help?
Because it is the simplest tool to start with, to start to understand yourself. And because
Hmm.
it's a tool with an assessment, you actually get concrete information back about you. So I like to say it's the first step in self-awareness that I like my clients to do. It lets them know their superpowers, and it lets them know their um, sort of their opportunities that hold them back in certain ways when they deal with people. And the particular assessment that I took, the IQ9, is all about leadership. So really every bit of feedback you get in this assessment is based on how you work with people in the workplace. And that to me is
Ah,
super helpful in GrayMatter's leadership coaching.
yes, I see where it now ties in. Okay. And so by taking the Enneagram, I get assigned like a specific number, is it? Like a
Yes. You
okay.
get assigned a specific number to your personality. So there's like perfectionist, considerate helper, there's the peacemaker. There's several different concepts, I guess, 9 concepts in the Enneagram, and you'll most likely gravitate towards one. But
Hmm.
I believe that as we grow and evolve in our life, you actually switch personalities. So I believe in
Yeah.
my younger years, I was a perfectionist for sure. And
Hmm.
if I wasn't perfect, I felt that, you know, I would get angry. I'd constantly get angry at myself. And then I've learned that we can't always be perfect. So now I've moved more towards this very sensitive, empathic type personality that's more of the considerate helper, which has a lot of strengths and opportunities. But you have wings. So if you're one type of personality, usually the two that are on either side of you are also kind of part of your personality.
Ah, like supporting in
Hmm.
in a way, in a sense, supporting
Yeah.
the main personality.
Yeah, and the Enneagram gives
Ah,
you the basic level of a playbook for your own mindset. So I think that's also why I consider this to be the first step in self-awareness, is you get the first glimpse of a playbook for how you're going to think and act.
and maybe also like some blind spots, right? Like
Oh, for
it
sure.
makes sense when you say motivated by anger or fear or shame. I do think it's helpful to figure out, which impulse tends to come up more. And it makes a lot of sense, just gaining that awareness. And does it also help me understand maybe even what kind of leadership roles or job roles to go for, you think?
Oh, yes, there's so many different, it kind of says which naturally you would be good at. It'll give you the list
Yeah.
of what kind of jobs you would naturally be good at.
Ah,
And it's so funny. It's dead on to how it picked up on my type um, of work, that I am
mm-hmm.
actually in the right kind of role. Considerate helper, being a coach. I'm an operations expert, so I'm always behind the scenes trying to help people work in a more
Mm,
proficient way. So it
yes.
actually was dead on to the type of role and business I should be working in. Yes, and it also uncovered my unconscious motivations really well. So I got to get a glimpse of mm, my less attractive side of how I operate.
Yes. Oh, we all have those ones. So
Yeah.
I know you teach us that knowing ourselves better can help us manage stressful times. And of course, this year has been crazy. It's been super stressful. There's been a lot of stress at work, at home, in the world. Give us an example or walk us through. a benefit of starting with this tool as the first step toward getting into that energy space that we like, where we we work on our gray matter and improve our mental fitness?
I think it because you kind of you've been given a hall pass to know how you're going to operate. Like it's like it just gives you this like, oh, well, this is naturally how I'm going to respond because this is my personality. So it's okay that I respond this way. So it kind of
Mm-hmm.
gives you a like I would say a hall pass to react a certain way because that is how you're wired to react. And I would say it gives you the moment to not be afraid of that negative emotion that you might be experiencing because again,
Mm-hmm.
you are this type of person. And so if you
Mm-hmm.
understand who you are and this negative emotion, this difficult, stressful situation comes along, you'll be more confident to push into those emotions than you will to run away because you don't understand them and you don't understand yourself. Because now you understand yourself. You will react this way because this is how you're wired. So I think it
Mm-hmm.
like gives you confidence to accept the stressful times and deal with them because you'll lean into the parts that you're not really good at dealing with because you know this is how you are. Like I just think it just helps you um, accept things better, I think, for lack of better words.
So it's acceptance we're going for. It's not like self-resignation. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I
it's
mean?
yeah.
Because I think there's like a fine line there between, okay, I have a hall pass and I know that I usually hide under shame when this happens, or, I become super angry when this happens. And you're saying that I use this to lean more into that situation and to maybe be more curious and to also be aware that I'm more likely to react like that, and not to go like, well, I'm always angry, so deal with it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. Like it's like you're allowed, it gives you the permission to sort of own what you're feeling and own the emotion versus pushing it away or blaming somebody else or reacting that doesn't in a way that just burns your energy out, right? Where you become like I think you were telling me something that happened to you this week where you became completely
Yes.
powerless in a
Yes.
stressful situation. It's like no, no, no,
Yes.
no, wait. This is how I'm going to react this way because this is my personality. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a
Mm-hmm.
scary emotion. I am okay.
It's
I'm going to get through this. I am
ah
good enough. Just because
yes.
I had to change my plans doesn't mean that I'm a failure. You know, whatever
Yes.
it might be that's causing you to react. You now understand who you are and that these
Yes.
emotions are part of the package.
And so I soothe myself into a a better direction, right? As opposed
Yeah.
to, why am I angry? I say, well, anger is a good, it's the impulse that normally comes to me very quickly, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that something is going wrong. It just means that I am feeling angry right now. And do I want to continue feeling this way, given that this is my natural inclination? That's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
what
your
you're saying here, right?
yeah, you uncover your pattern of thinking in stressful situations. With the Enneagram, it'll tell you your pattern of thinking. And
Yes.
then that helps you deal with, instead of unconsciously reacting, you will consciously
Yes.
react because you've already understood it.
I got it, because it's exactly like you said. Like, we were just talking about this, and I told you, because I use the thought model that you teach us, and I literally just took it and I applied it, and I figured, okay, I cannot change this situation right now. The circumstances are what they are, but since I'm already angry, I just need to walk away from everyone that I could possibly react to, because I don't want to do that. And I became aware. And that's such a cool thing, especially for me as a mom, because when things go wrong, if I lack that awareness, then the first people who suffer the consequences are my kids. They get to, hear the receiving end of whatever that outburst might be, or that disappointment. But using the thought model that we have at GMC, it's so beautiful, because in the moment I catch myself, then I know I need to remove myself from the situation if I'm not able to contain it very well, if that makes sense. So the
Exactly.
Enneagram sort of starts us on that path. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it gives you your feeling patterns, your action patterns, your motivations. And it's just so helpful to know, um, you know, that I'm warm, I'm giving, I'm people centered, I'm sacrificing to my own, my own fault.
Yeah.
So like it helps to know why I operate the way I do. And why I over focus on, one of my blind spots is I over focus on others and not focus on myself too much. And then I get angry and feel resentful.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Hmm.
I never knew why I had that pattern, and now I
Yes.
do. And so now I kind of like dial back from one reacting that way towards others and myself. It just makes
Hmm.
things, it doesn't take away the problem. It just makes you go
Hmm.
through the problems much more smoothly. Like the ups and downs aren't as wild as of a shift. They're just like
Hmm.
smooth bumps that I'm going to get through once we raise your self-awareness. And this is one way to raise the self-awareness. It's the first step, is understand your innate superpowers and your innate unconscious motivators. And then
Hmm.
I'll teach people how to be more self-aware with how they're thinking and their mindset, which is not
Hmm.
unique to a personality. It's just unique to your brain. And so we have all
Yes.
these levers of self-awareness and tools that I like to teach. And this is one of my favorite first steps.
Wonderful. And all these go, they all go into reinforcing, activating, strengthening that frontal part of our brain, the gray
Yes,
matter area.
the
Mm,
gray matter, the best part.
wonderful. Oh, so good. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. So, where can people go to do the assessment that you recommend?
They can go to the where is it? I like to use Ian Morgan. He has like a couple different levels of the assessment if you can't afford the professional one. So Ian Morgan Crone.com,
Okay,
and he has the IQ9 assessment is the one that I like to take.
nice. Okay, and
Okay.
I'll link it on our YouTube description just for people to like easily access it. Okay,
Perfect. And then
perfect.
come back to me if you want to dive in and discuss it. I'm happy to discuss it with anybody, any of our listeners.
Yes, that would be fantastic. Yeah, drop us an email or a message. Uh, Go to bjgray.com even, and it will be easier for BJ to respond to you. BJ, I am so grateful. Thank you for sharing this tool. I know it's not our tool, and this is one of the reasons why I love you so much, because of your generosity. I think it's fantastic that you give us the first step, because of course self-awareness and even just rewiring the brain, it has many different levels, and some of this stuff is really advanced. So I'm so glad that you feel this is a great first step for anyone to take.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you too. Bye for now.